Hello everyone, this is Sneha this side from ITM Skills University and Let's Play. So today we have Mr. Abhishek Dwivedi. He is the Vice President of Engineering at Vista. He has almost more than 20 years of experience, work experience, and has been doing great in terms of leadership in engineering teams, and also he is a keen blogger, a history enthusiast, and a great mentor as well. So welcome sir, thank you so much for coming in this campus. It is an honor for us to have you here. And to start off, I would want you to give your brief introduction about your journey from start till, from being an assistant software engineer to actually being a vice president now.
First of all, thank you so much for having me on the campus. It's been a great interaction since morning. Thank you for all the hospitality and the support as well. So awesome on that front. In terms of my own journey, it's been almost now, I've stopped counting, but I think so it's around roughly now 22 years since I've been in the industry. Started back in 2001 and I have learned as I went. I started into the services sector, went into the product company like Oracle, then chose to do my B school so that I could get some level of business acumen. It was that time I was thinking that good communication, business acumen, technology skills will be in need in future. So I thought that might be a good way to capitalize on all these three skills and see how I can move forward in my career vertically within the technology space, because I love the technology space. And I love for its ability to give plethora of problem solving things which you can look at, and I love to solve problems. So that's how I progressed. From there on, it's been leadership role for last more than a decade, from heading engineering to now heading engineering for across the continent for almost multiple product teams. Almost 15-16 product teams work for me. So it's a journey which somewhat is planned and somewhat is opportunistic. Mm-hmm. It has happened planned, why I would say, because I chose to do B school. I chose to understood that how much time I have to spend in what role at what time. Mm-hmm. And that's an important lesson in this journey. If you spend doing the same thing for too long, then you are just doing different things. You're not doing things differently.
Right.
And that's what my realization has been. Some of that is attributed to that particular aspect. But then at the end of the day, hard work, dedication and discipline, and most of the important things, focus, has led me where I am today. Because that's what allows me to look at the most important thing and try to solve for that, as opposed to looking at everything and not be able to solve anything by the end of the day. So that satisfaction feeling is important. That's how the career has moved where it has moved. And at this stage, it's more like how I can learn from my environment, be it interaction with people, the kids here in computer science batch or in any B school where I go, and how can I basically interact with more smarter generations which are coming through and see how we can use their power in future.
So you might have interacted with other students as well, right? So what kind of energy did you feel with these students compared to others?
I think so. The energy level here was very good, and I'm not very sure that does that happen because of B school. When you start to mature and learn a lot, I believe there is more reservation which comes into people. When people are in their early years, like what they are here, it becomes like, hey, I can be freewheeling and I can basically interact and do a lot of lateral thinking. So one of the key things which I found here was the lateral thinking in the kids. And when given the same thing which they have been discussing maybe in their classroom settings, and I am now discussing with them in their casual sessions, Same concepts are being talked about, but I believe they have a different perspective than they would have had in the classroom settings. So, given an opportunity, I am seeing that they do bloom and flower, and they come out in a manner where they are applying their lateral thinking, which is really good because linear thinking can only give you thus far. So, great to see the energy levels, great to see the interaction. They understand and respond to the situation very well and react and become part of the situation very well. So, which is good. That's an important skill to have, and that's how most probably the session has been great for them and me as well, for them as participants in it, and for me as another key contributor in terms of starting the interaction.
Got that, sir. I also wanted to know, like, we know how technology is, kind of getting evolved and updated on a big pace. So, how do you keep yourself updated? You having so many years of experience, great experience, how have you kept yourself updated with every era, every upgradation in tech trends?
Yeah, it's a good question. And honestly speaking, you don't keep pace with the technology, you look at the relevant things, what's happening in the space. How you look at the relevant things in the space, you need to rely on couple of mechanisms. Those couple of mechanisms in today's digital economy start with reading good blogs, subscribing to them. For example, it's good and great to subscribe to Medium. It is good and great to subscribe to the Pragmatic Engineering blog. There is many other such blogging knowledge material which helps you. So what I'm trying to emphasize and come to the point is that the visual aid in terms of YouTube material is one way to get at it. The reading aid is even more powerful for absorption because it allows you to understand, interpret and then apply, because there is a lot of written material. Looking at some open source projects and seeing what's happening in that space is also important. So using the blogs, using the YouTube, purchasing books, be it in electronic format or physical format, which are relevant, allows you to build a perspective. And when you use all of these tools in tandem is what the knowledge you build, because there is a sense of interpretation, an opinion which you build out of it. So the more diverse set of opinions you read, the better understanding you get where the technology is moving, right? And that is how you keep tab on it, right? So yes, we say a lot in terms of digital, social media and digital toxification is a big problem today. But the point is, how do you use them as your productivity tools is the question. So you need to be mature enough and responsible enough to use these aids to your own advantage and get the right thing out of these aids to help you move faster. So that's how you keep a tab on it, and that's very asynchronous in nature. Meaning you are on the go, you are reading that. You are basically having a break, you're reading on something else. So building that perspective and reading the right things will help you understand how the technology is shaping and what are the thinkers in that space basically postulating or looking at it, what the future may look like. That is how you become more aware about it.
Same, I would ask, like, what kind of advice to stay updated with all these things you would give to the students, being in their study era now, so time ka limitations are there, right?
Yeah.
So how can they themselves keep updated?
I think so for them, while you say time is a limitation, I would say that it's always good for them to stretch a little bit and apply and learn. So they have to go beyond classroom basics to apply themselves, even to the effect of following instructions to do a certain project in open source and doing it themselves. So doing is believing, and for that it's important that they bring theory to practice in small chunks. As much as they will be able to practice and build applications, build demo applications, work in groups, build prototypes, do apply the knowledge, the better will the knowledge get ingrained and become like a behavior. For something to become behavior, it requires 18 months, right? And if you don't apply that practice for 18 months, it will never become a habit.
Habit, right?
Yeah, habit formation takes almost 18 months since you start thinking about it. It doesn't happen overnight. So that's the amount of time you have to put. So you need to bring theory to practice for quite a sustained period of time in order to make it a habit. Then you start thinking like that. You need to ensure that you start thinking like that.
Thinking like that, right?
Yeah.
So to
That's
get
the
into
important
that
thing.
format,
Yes.
you have to have that habit
Yes,
of doing it.
yes,
Consistency.
yes,
Got
yes.
that, sir. So you've kind of contributed in many digital transformations of companies, many companies. So I would want to know, like, what are those key factors that helps into a digital transformation, and can these students use them in their now time?
So while digital transformation and the question you ask is very relevant to the people we are talking about here, it might not that much be relevant. Why? Because digital transformation is less about technology, more about the change it brings and how you handle the change, because change which you bring will impact the people.
People, right?
Handling change and transformation will critically depend on how you handle the people. The only thing which you can take up from this is to build soft skills in communication, have empathy, have understanding that change is a disruptor. Sometimes it can, for people, bring positive outcomes, for others it can bring negative outcomes, and we have to be ready to accommodate them. So it's less of a technology problem and more of a people problem, because you need the people to embrace the change, and how you as a person will be a team player to do that, communicate that, be empathetic, be part of it will be important. So as much as the technology skills they gain here, so much if they spend time on those soft skills as well, will make them better to be part of such journeys.
Got that, sir. As you mentioned about technological skills and soft skills, so in our curriculum, what we have done is 75% will be taught to them about all the technical things, all the technical languages, tools. Then rest will be divided into networking, soft skills and business skills as well.
Yes.
So this is something, I guess it is very different from other syllabus compared to, other engineering
Yes.
institutes.
Yes.
So what kind of difference will that impact on these students?
See, the early you start learning about it, the better it becomes, because you will most probably get better opportunities to apply them early in your career. Mostly up until 5-6 years of your career, you don't get opportunity to apply. You are a silent player in most of the companies unless you are a bright star and you can shine. I mean, ITM is not going to stop a bright star from shining. Sachin Tendulkars will always be found and they will be the greatest, right? So that is a very different league and that's a very rare league. But if you talk about the masses, for the masses, the earlier you introduce a concept, like we do with our children as well, right? We say that if you are able to find earlier the talent in the person and you can hone it, that many years will go in it. If any one of you or in the batch also goes and reads the book Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, you will understand what is the essence of tipping point. Most probably by the time we were trying to understand anything, Bill Gates would have already done 10,000 worth of hours of coding. So his tipping point is coming faster than ours. However, that environment might have been set up as a secondary question. The point is that there is a tipping point after which things start basically transforming and reflecting differently, right? So if you take from that hypothesis, this is a good thing. You might be able to affect the tipping point faster. But just having the theoretical knowledge of this is not the only thing. It needs to basically manifest into more practical application so that people are ready to face the near real-time scenarios as much as possible. Simulation helps you become a better person.
Got that, sir. So you have had a transformation from, a technical role to actually a leadership role. So, are there any misconceptions that people have ki, the transformation might have some or the other disadvantages from technical role to leadership?
See, one of the biggest challenges which happens from a technical to leadership role is the misconception of what you will be as a leader, right? Some of the people would love to be on the leadership role,
Right.
but are always pulled back to the fact that I want to go and do my technology work. I want to still code. Unfortunately, that is not what leadership defines as. Leadership from a technology point of view defines how you understand the business, their strategy, and then go back on the drawing board to see that how will you impact them with the people, the technology and the process, right? It's a convergence of these three which will be the catalyst for the business and its outcome. Because you pick any business today, they are all tech enabled. You pick any business, any industry, there is very less where you would say that it might not be like that, right? So what's important is people don't realize that when you make that shift, leadership comes with different kind of problem sets, and if you are not ready to impress people, if you are not ready to embrace solving for the process issues, the architectural system architecture, then you may not be the right person for that leadership role. It might be the best that you remain an individual contributor and perform well in that role doing one thing. Because as a leader, you will have to do many things at the same time, and multitasking is not something which goes well with everybody, right? So there are people-centric skills, there is time management skills, there is complexity of negotiating through corporate politics.
Right.
All of this will come with it. As pure technologists, you generally are not faced with those dilemmas,
Right.
but all of this will come with leadership, and unless you are not ready to embrace them with open arms, you may be an effective technologist but not an effective leader, right? It's like if you try to draw the curve y-axis and x-axis and put yourself from individual contributor on x to a leader and draw the curve on coding, the curve will go down, right? You coding most when you're in IC.
Yeah.
As a leader, it's almost done,
It's
finished.
almost done, right.
But what is the constant? There is a constant line on the graph, which is basically your technical acumen. So if your technical acumen also dies, then also you will not be a great leader.
Great leader.
So you need to maintain. Your earlier questions were very relevant to the fact that how do you keep abreast, how do you apply those concepts back, how you basically incorporate them in daily life, what's happening, because technology changes at rapid pace. So your technical acumen at all times has to be constant.
Right.
Your coding will decay when you become a leader, right? But if your technical acumen also decays, then you are not going to be strong on your core principles of engineering, which means you will not be able to guide very large scale problem statements.
So you being a leader, we could say that you are doing great. How do you keep your, the team motivated, and how do you help them also be updated on the same scale? As you mentioned, multitasking. So as a leader, you have to multitask. You have to look for yourself as well. You have to look for your team members as well. You have to keep them updated with all these things. So how do you manage all these things? Usme personal life alone, and obviously personal hobbies bhi rehti hai. So how do you manage all these things?
See, life is a pie chart, and you need to basically divide it into personal, professional, and family. People largely divide it only into professional and family, and therefore they get sucked up into the quagmire of daily life. You need to have a personal time,
Personal life as well.
which is known as me time. Be it you want to do running, you want to do yoga, you want to do painting, that's not important. Important is first have that time in the pie chart and then dedicate time to it. It's very important to switch between these three contexts and manage them efficiently. When it comes to working with people, it's very important that everybody has to run for a goal. And without a mission or purpose or a goal definition, there is nothing which will be able to keep people motivated for more than 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatnot, right? So, seeking and effecting clarity of the goal as a leader for your teams by understanding the strategy and the way forward of the company is the key thing by which you keep people engaged as a leader. Day-to-day coaching. For example, we were interacting in the session, somebody asked, how do you manage your time? I am telling about this is how you could do it, structure your calendar, make a to-do app, put your stuff there, maybe use Notion, I don't know, whatever is comfortable. Those kind of hacks and the day-to-day coaching allows you to basically work with your people to transfer some of this knowledge as you build it over a period of time. Right? So day-to-day coaching is the most potent tool by which you interact with people, and when you interact you don't take status. One-on-ones are not meant to take status. One-on-ones are meant to take broad discussions with random outcomes. Because if you have to take a status, you can always get them to write it.
Correct.
You don't need to meet people to write status. You need to meet people to connect. Ask about their family, understand what they're going through, coach them on their problems, see what's concerning them. At all times, you will never have a solution, so be very realistic. Sometimes these conversations will be ending without any outcomes. So you have to be ready to iterate and improve as you go along, and very importantly, you yourself have to be very open and susceptible, vulnerable to the feedback.
Yes.
To be able to respond that what do you need more? I came in here, I immediately, maybe a few years back if you would have called me for this same session, let's say, I might not have shown the content to the people here before going inside. But I have learned over a period of time. I said like, okay, I could not send the content, but at least I should consult the key people here to tell me, will I be successful inside the room or not. I got some level of confidence from the group that it will work out, don't worry. We went in, it seems to it worked out well. So that vulnerability should be there, that you are not the perfect person.
Correct.
And you can learn from your group effort through collective intelligence. That's the key, what is important here.
Got that, sir. So last thing, I would want you to give some words of guidance to all these students who will actually watch this video, even to our students as well.
Yeah, I think so. There are two axes to it, right? One is how to have some basic principles in life, right? Basic principles in life when working with people, because you'll always have to, is all about first having respect for each other. Unless you don't have that, you will not have trust. And if you can't build trust, you will never have honesty in your conversations. Be it your life partner, be it your child, be it the people in the company, you need to go through these three filtration mechanisms as key blocks for any effective communication to happen. All what might be told to us, this is what I have learned. Unless I don't respect, I'm not going to trust. If I'm not going to trust, I'm not going to be honest about the answer, I'll be politically correct.
Yeah.
Right? Very important. The second axis or the layer is all about discipline, dedication, and determination. You need to be determined, dedicated, and disciplined about anything you do. That's the 3D effect which you get. Unless you are not able to get that to work in tandem, you will not see the impact of your effort, and it will be less effective than what you would have expected it.
Got that, sir. Thank you so much. It was really great having sir with us. A great session that was done with students. Thank you so much, sir.